when you look at ESPN, let's use them for an example. They want to talk about Embiid and Giannis and LeBron and, Steph and just all those stars. Where are all those stars right now? Where are all the former MVPs? They're all out of the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals. So, yeah, the Celtics may be boring. Maybe they are. I'll tell you right now, though, this series won't be. And I'll break that down for you coming up in a bit. I know Brandon's been waiting for a bit. He's in Boston. What's going on, Brandon? What's your thoughts on the series here?
Hey, what's going on? So, yeah, I agree. This is a Jason Tatum series. But I disagree that we need Porzingis to beat the Pacers. I think we can win with or without him. But people always think that, it's Tatum or Jaylen Brown to worry about. My concern is Holiday because he has these slow starts where he needs to be more efficient. I mean, I want to see him get 15-plus points per game, 5-plus rebounds per game, 5-plus assists a game. There's games where he's just settling. And I remember watching one game where he didn't score the whole first quarter, and then scored his first 2 points in the second. So when you look at this Miami series, the first 3 games he scored 6, 9, and 3. Then he was in double figures in 4 and 5 with 11 and 10. And then with the Cavaliers, he scored 14, which is good, first game. Second game, he scored 4 points. The last 3 games, he was in double figures and went over 15 with 18 and 16. I need him to be efficient in scoring. He needs to get his baskets, and the team needs to ride on him. I never see him at the free throw line, which is strange. Do you?
I think it's strange, my man.
Why? My thing is, why is he getting on these slow starts? He needs to go. Listen, you're facing Halliburton. He's going to get his. He's going to make you work. So you got to keep up the scoring with him. And then with Joe, my last point with Joe, you have to use all your bigs. Like when it comes to Al Horford, Luke Tillman, even Kata, you got to use him. When it comes to Kata, I'll tell him this: we don't need you swiping at the ball at all. Just go out there and grab rebounds, put your hands up and block. We don't need you in foul trouble. Just defend the paint, grab rebounds. He has to use all his bigs. You just can't use Tillman and Luke. You got to go deep in your bench because there are some bigs on the Pacers that you have to worry about. And, James Johnson, right? Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. No. Thank you, Brandon. A lot of numbers there, Brandon. I know you're ready, bro. Listen, let's not look up the 1 through 12 and all that. This is the key to the series. Can Aaron Nesmith, Nembhard, I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. Can Aaron Nesmith defend?
No.
Can Aaron Nesmith
and
Halliburton defend in this series?
The Pacers do not defend. And that very scary James Johnson he's talking about has played how many minutes in the playoffs in 23-24, Joe? That would be a total of 1 minute.
1 minute.
So I wouldn't be too worried about James Johnson.
So looking at, so to me it's Nembhard, Halliburton, Nesmith. Those 3 guys, can they defend Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White?
I think Siakam's getting one of those guys.
I think Siakam will probably get Tatum, probably.
He's ended it I guess maybe because Kawhi was there a lot, but in Toronto, he would end up on Jaylen a lot, and Jaylen would cook him.
This is the thing.
The Pacers, I am not worried about the Indiana Pacers.
I know they can score. Here's the only thing that concerns me of the Celtics: if they have a bad shooting night, do they not play defense? Like that's real. We've seen it at least in each series. I'm not banking on Aaron Nesmith defending Jaylen Brown. I'm sorry. Like, where's Cerrone with the barbecue chicken?
Yeah, Aaron Nesmith has been really good. I think, Celtics fans remember he's a little out of control here. He's kind of reined it in. He's showing why there was all those scouting reports of him being the best shooter in that draft. He's a solid player, but, Aaron Nesmith is not standing in the way of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going to a finals.
We'll do an in-depth preview throughout the whole entire night, but of the 4 conference finals teams, only Drew Holiday, Pascal Siakam, Kyrie Irving, and Markieff Morris have a ring.
And none of them are on the team they won the ring with.
So you got to figure Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, or Tyrese Halliburton, one of those players will get their first ring, right? It's the first time in history that no current or former MVP in the Final Four playoff teams. And that's been since 1956. I'll say this. The Celtics have built their whole entire team trying to win a title without having an MVP or someone at the top of their roster. And that will actually have to happen this year. I've said it all along, and I stand by my take still. People might think this is the easiest path, the best path, whatever you want to call the path. I have called this path for months. I have said they can front run their way to an NBA final and an NBA championship. They may actually do that. Now, they are taking less three-pointers, 10 or more less three-pointers a game than they did in the regular season. That's been an adjustment by Missoula. That's been an adjustment. But the Celtics built their team by not acquiring MVPs, by drafting, and here they are now. And you've heard Tatum say it how many times? We weren't built this year. We don't have MVPs or Coach of the Years or those kind of guys. I think the reason why he's saying that is he doesn't want to play 65 games anymore. But the flip side of it, they're a team that might be the first to do it. They might be the first. And parity in the whole NBA now, it's real. It is now real. We'll get more into the preview of the Celtics and Pacers series. We'll talk with Brian Barrett from The Ringer coming up in just a little bit. But let's talk to Jeff, who's in Wareham. What's up, Jeff?
What's going on, man? Here's my thing. If you're a Celtics fan and you're scared of the Indiana Pacers, then something is drastically wrong. Because the way this team has been built, you were scared of maybe Denver, and that was about it. I mean, that was the only team I was scared of going into the season. If you're scared of Indiana, then you should be petrified of a team like Minnesota. So if you're scared of Indiana, something is really wrong. And here's the thing. I think it's going to come back to Tatum this year. If the Celtics win, Tatum is going to get the glory and he's going to get the shine. And if they lose, he's going to get a lot of the hate for it. And that's why a lot of people are already saying, well, I like Edwards better, is because he's been doing something with Minnesota that if you switch places, they don't think Tatum can do the same thing. So, I don't know. A lot of pressure on Tatum this year for sure.
How about this, though, too? And yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Tatum and Brown. I think that's what we'll find out. Do they can get there? Can they get over that hump? We'll look at all that. My whole take is, you still need that third guy. Like, it can't just be one of these stars who win. I think with this team they need that third guy there. But as people keep talking about, Tatum's got to take games over, or Anthony, what we just saw with Edwards, he needs to take games over,
which he didn't do last night. He was maybe their third or fourth best player.
That's been my whole take for so long. The league isn't about the one individual superstar anymore.
No, the narrative around Edwards has gotten crazy. He was okay last night.
Oh, he was a dog. Don't get me wrong.
He hit a big
dog
three,
out there.
But he was 6 of 24 shooting, which Tatum would get crucified for. And Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid were all awesome last night, which is what you need to win a title.
We talked about this, right? All these teams, Karl Anthony Towns needed all these other guys.
And he was awesome last night.
Yep. Rudy Gobert had to go in and get someone bigger than Karl Anthony Towns so he could be not for nothing, but Garnett kind of needed that too in his day. He needed that big so he could kind of play his game a little bit better. The Timberwolves got up McDaniels, right? Who's a good power forward, whatever you want to call him, probably 3 on that team, but he plays defense. They've really built the team well. Celtics have too. Here's my biggest problem. ESPN is dying to try to find the next superstar. The Celtics are boring. They are. They are dying for Anthony Edwards to be the next star. right? They already got Luka. They get him on a big stage.
I don't know if you saw any of it, but they certainly tried hard with Jalen Brunson over the weekend. That was embarrassing coverage.
The New York coverage was embarrassing. Wow, as the lights just went out in the studio.
Shut the lights off.
Was that what they did? ESPN? They were like, hey, stop talking about us. Why? Because you're desperately trying to find the next star instead of looking at the ones that are there.
You would have thought that was a local broadcast this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Stephen A. Smith. I thought you covered Philly, bro. Like, what's up with that? No, but for real, ESPN, who do they talk about all the time? Embiid, right? They talk about all these guys that barely win.
Tyrese Halliburton has been to more Eastern Conference Finals than Joel Embiid now.
I like Halliburton a lot.
He's good.
Who was that Sacramento trade worked. But just thinking about it, they want Anthony Edwards to be the next star so bad because he's interesting. Because John Morant was on that track too, right? They're trying so hard. Guys, when we do shows, what do you want to lead on? Well, the Sun, this is kind of boring. This is kind of ESPN's like, who's a star that we can hang on to, right? That's all they're looking for. But yet, the guy who's been there a bunch, the guy who's got to get over the hump, where's the story of the Celtics finally finishing their story, right? Where is the Celtics finishing their storyline on ESPN? They're not doing it because they're boring. They'd rather go with Anthony Edwards, who talks crap or was in a movie with Adam Sandler.